You know that moment when someone asks how your life is going and you give a short, polite answer, and suddenly you're a suspect. Why are you so closed off? Are you hiding something? But you aren't hiding anything. You're not cold, and you're definitely not broken. Psychology has studied people exactly like you. And what researchers found says much more about a world that needs you to expose yourself than it does about you. This video was made for you. If anyone has ever called you too reserved, if you feel that privacy is a necessity and not a whim, if you protect your inner life as if it were the only place that is completely yours, stay with me. There is an explanation for this, and it's not weakness, it's psychology. Researchers have identified 3 distinct psychological mechanisms that explain why certain people keep their lives completely private. 3 different paths that lead to the same behavior, and each one has a name, science behind it, and a reason that makes perfect sense. The first comes from childhood, from the way your brain learned that opening your heart comes with a price. The second comes from biology, from the way your nervous system processes the world more deeply than most people. And the third, this one will turn your perception upside down, because privacy isn't weakness. In many cases, it's power. Let's start at the beginning. But before we get into the science, answer one question. When was the last time you tried to open up to someone, and something inside blocked you before you even started? Your brain learned that somewhere. Let's see where. Imagine this scenario. You're 7 years old.
No.
You come home excited about something.
No.
A drawing, a good grade, a new feeling you can barely name,
Not either.
and you share it. You open up, but the response you receive isn't what you expected. Maybe it was indifference. Maybe it was criticism. Maybe someone used what you said against you later. Your brain recorded everything. John Bowlby and Mary Ainsworth, the founders of attachment theory, discovered that when children repeatedly share and receive rejection, punishment, or indifference as a response, the brain develops a pattern that researchers call avoidant attachment. In simple terms, the brain learns that opening up is dangerous. That vulnerability has a cost, that it's safer to stay quiet. This isn't personality, this is learning. Your nervous system did exactly what any intelligent nervous system does. It survived. It created an internal rule. Sharing personal information is a threat. And every time someone asks you to open up, your brain activates the same protection protocol it learned years ago. Not because you're cold, but because you were taught very early on that being seen can hurt. But there is something almost no one says. This pattern is not a prison. It's an intelligent response to an environment that wasn't safe. The environment has changed, but your brain is still running the old protocol. The second mechanism is different. This one doesn't come from a wound. It comes from the way you are. In 1996, psychologist Elaine Aron published research that identified something she called sensory processing sensitivity, known as a highly sensitive person. And the numbers are more common than they seem. Between 15 and 20% of the population carries this trait. 1 in 5. Have you ever stopped to think why a short conversation can leave you as exhausted as an entire day of work? The scientific explanation is this. Your brain processes information more deeply. You don't just notice what's happening around you, you feel it. You analyze it. You make connections that most people don't even notice. A minor argument can echo for days, and this has a real cost. When you process everything with more intensity, exposure comes at a high price. Sharing your life, your plans, your feelings with anyone who asks, that's not just inconvenient, it's genuinely draining. Your nervous system needs space. It needs silence. It needs boundaries to function. Privacy, for you, isn't social rejection. It's neurological regulation. Does that make sense? Or did you always think there was something wrong with you for needing it? Powerful, isn't it? You're not antisocial. You are neurologically different. But the third mechanism? This one changes the game. Because here, privacy stops being a defense and becomes something completely different. In 1971, social psychologist Sidney Girard published research on self-disclosure, the act of sharing personal information with others. And what he found was completely counterintuitive. People who share indiscriminately, who tell everyone everything, who expose every decision and every emotion, they are perceived with less respect, less influence, less authority. Why? Because indiscriminate information devalues the one who shares it. People who share selectively, who carefully choose what to reveal and to whom, who maintain a layer of reserve, these are the people others tend to respect more, to listen to more, to take more seriously. The great truth is this: privacy is a form of social intelligence. When you don't share everything about yourself, you're not being evasive, you're being strategic. You've understood, whether consciously or not, that information is currency, that revealing everything at once devalues what you have to offer. There is no such thing as hiding. There is only being selective. A wall blocks everyone. A gate is selective. It opens for those you choose. Private people don't have walls. They have gates, and they choose who gains access. This isn't fear, it's power. But this is where things get complicated. You've just absorbed 3 real mechanisms: learning, biology, and social intelligence. All of them true. None of them the whole story. Because there's a real difference between privacy that comes from a place of strength and privacy that has become a trap. Healthy privacy feels like a choice. When you decide not to share something, you feel at peace. You chose it. You are in control. You can connect with people you trust whenever you want, and it costs you nothing. The selectivity is yours. Privacy that has become a prison feels different. You want to connect, but something holds you back. The silence isn't peace, it's a compulsion. You're not protecting your energy. You're avoiding the pain that comes from trying. You're alone not by choice, but because the idea of opening up feels impossible. The fundamental question is this: when you keep your life private, does that silence give you peace or isolation? If it's peace, you're protecting yourself. That's a boundary. If it's isolation, it's not privacy. It's a wound that hasn't healed yet, wearing the face of privacy. And pain deserves care, not a label. So where does that leave you? You aren't secretive. You aren't cold. You aren't suspicious. You're someone who learned too early, too deeply, that not everyone deserves the access they ask for. This is what science calls protection, what people call coldness, and what you can finally start calling your own. This has a name. It's not being closed off, and it's not cold. It's being selectively guarded. It's being strategically private. It's being someone who knows the value of what they carry. You have permission to protect what is yours. You have permission not to share with just anyone. You have permission to be reserved in a world that confuses exposure with authenticity. Before you go, ask yourself one question: does your silence give you power or loneliness? You don't have to answer me, but if you want to, leave it in the comments. Write anything, a word, a sentence. Sometimes the only place we can be honest is in a comment where no one truly knows us. I read them all. And if you want to keep understanding the patterns you carry without knowing why, the next video might explain more about you than you imagine. Subscribe to the channel.